clean out. I've got blackberries trying to take over. They grow wild here, and they grow everywhere. Hey guys, Constance here from Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I've been doing a little bit of tidying up, a little bit of getting things in order as far as the herbs go. I had some bay leaves that I picked up at the Mennonite store that I went to this week, so I took them out of the plastic bag that they came in, put them into some glass mason jars. I had 2 jars that were the excess, and so I vacuum sealed those, put them up in the pantry, and then I have another mason jar that I can use for the time being. Then I went ahead and I jarred up I always want to call it mullein. I have called it mullein for as long as I can remember, and until recently, that's how I thought it was pronounced. That's what it looks like, M-U-L-L-E-I-N. Except I learned it's pronounced mullein. Well, okay, I'll take everyone's word for it. I even looked it up to see how it's pronounced and realized I've been saying it wrong all this time and no one has ever corrected me until recently. So, mullein. A while back I went out and I harvested some. I've had it drying in my herb rack, and so now I went ahead and jarred it up. I don't have a vacuum sealer attachment for that size jar lid, the regular size. So I just went ahead and closed them up tight, put a ring on the jar, and labeled them, put them away. And then I headed out into the front area and I harvested this. This is lemon balm, and lemon balm has lots of wonderful uses. First of all, it's in the mint family, and wherever you plant it, it can sort of begin to take over if you're not careful. I really don't worry about it too much. It's in a flower bed that's surrounded by concrete. I have had a few little sprouts pop up on the other side. There are raised garden beds out there, so I'm not too concerned with it getting into them and taking over those. If they want to spread out along the grass, it's fine with me. I'm not someone who worries about what my lawn is growing, you know? So I digress. Lemon balm. Lemon balm is a wonderful plant to grow because it can be used for a lot of things. First of all, again, it being in the mint family, it's completely edible. It has a very bright and citrusy taste. It is kind of strong, so it's great used as a little bit of a garnish or a seasoning, and it does have that citrusy sort of taste. But lemon balm has way more uses than just the culinary uses in your kitchen with your cooking. Lemon balm is also known as Melissa. So if you go to an essential oil store, business, and you see Melissa oil, that's this. That is lemon balm. And lemon balm has many medicinal uses. Whether it's the oil or the herb itself. And there's all sorts of purposes that I have read about. Now I am going to do the little asterisk thing. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health professional. These are just things that I have read about, and so I would suggest that if you want to use this, do your homework, do some reading. I'll put some links to some great books down below that you can check out and you can decide for yourself. Lemon balm is antiviral, so it's great for making those home remedies for cold and flu season. It is used for treating anxiety and to help calm a person. It has been used to treat stomach upset, heartburn, gassy stomach. There's all sorts of things, tension headaches and sleeplessness. And I think that goes hand in hand with treating the anxiety and helping to calm nerves. I think those kind of tie together. So it has a great number of purposes. And so I harvested a tubful here, and I'm going to put this in my herb drying rack so that I can let this dry and save all of these great leaves to use for things this winter. I know there is a cough syrup that, if that sort of thing happens this year, I can make to help treat that. It's a ginger lemon balm cough syrup. It's got raw honey in it, so it's just a great all-around tool for that herbal toolbox, that medicine kit, you could say. And before I forget, there's actually one other thing that this lemon balm is great for, and I did a video about this a couple years ago. We had been dealing with nightmare numbers of flies in the chicken coop. If you got chickens, you got flies. You got a farm, you got flies. That's just life. And the flies in the chicken coop were so bad, as you walked up to the chicken coop, you could hear it buzzing. I had fly traps out there. I had tried everything I could think of to help with the sheer numbers of flies. I mean, you would open that door and there's probably a couple hundred flies in the coop. It was awful. It was clean. There was nothing else I could possibly do. They just would not go away. Someone suggested putting lemon balm in the chicken coop. So I figured it was worth a shot because it couldn't possibly hurt anything. So I grabbed a bunch of handfuls of the lemon balm. I opened up the chicken coop. I just threw them in there on the floor. Do you know, the next day I went out there and I opened the chicken coop and there was like 5 flies in there. It had gone from hundreds to just a few. I couldn't believe it worked, and so I have used that anytime the flies have gotten really bad out there, and it's helped. It's helped every time. And I have since read that lemon balm can be used as a homeopathic mosquito repellent, that you can just take the leaves, rub them on your skin to help repel mosquitoes. And I also read where you can make a type of tincture with witch hazel and make a bug repellent spray using lemon balm. So this is a great plant to grow in your garden. Now, these have not been sprayed with anything. They've just been growing wild out there in the garden bed, but there's probably some dirt on there. So I just fill a tub up with water, let them soak, and get anything out of there. Just swish it around a few times, and then I just drain them out and put them in my drying rack. Alright, so I've got my lemon balm leaves here all cleaned, and I've got them kind of draining, and I'll let them sit here a little bit and get all the excess moisture out of there. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm taking as many of the leaves off of the stems as I can, because I find that it's easier to do now than it is later. Now, if I was going to hang these up in bundles to dry, then I would just leave them on the stems. But since I'm going to be doing these in my drying rack, I'll just go ahead and remove most of the stems now. And I have to tell you, when you are working with this much lemon balm all at once, the fragrance is almost overwhelming. There's a lot of it. I think the next time I do this, I'll have my windows open while I'm doing it, because whew, it is strong. It almost smells like citronella, which makes sense with the whole bug repellent property, because it does. It smells like a mix of citronella and lemon in my kitchen right now. Alright, well, I think that will do it. Now I'm going to go ahead and spread these out in my herb drying rack and let them do their thing. We'll do it like this so I don't drip water everywhere. Alright, so I'm a little bit backlit, so hopefully you can see this. This is my drying tower that I got this year. It was very inexpensive. I think it was like 28 bucks or so. But it has 8 different tiers. They each have an opening with a big old shelf in here, and then you can zip it shut to keep curious felines and other things from getting in there. And it's all made out of netting, so there's plenty of airflow, and you can divide different herbs into different levels and dry a bunch of stuff all at once. So I'm just going to spread all of these out in as single a layer as I can, and then after a week or 2 or so they'll be dry. It just depends on how much moisture is in the air. I'll just come through every so often and I'll test a leaf to see if it's dry or not. And when they're dry, I'll jar them up and store them away. So I was actually supposed to be out there hunting today, except it's insanely windy, and when you're up in a tree stand and it's windy and everything is swaying, it can be a little disconcerting and also make you a little motion sick. So I thought, you know, I'm just going to forego hunting today because honestly, when it's this windy, the deer don't move much anyways, so I will just try again tomorrow. We have cold weather that has been moving in ever since Zeta rolled through here. Now, we didn't get a lot of bad weather from Zeta. We just got a ton of rain, and then we did have a bit of wind kick up, but we didn't have any damage or anything like that. We didn't have to worry about too much. I did go ahead and like secure everything, put up everything that could blow away or blow over, but we didn't really get too much that happened. Did have some sunflowers break and things like that, but otherwise it wasn't that bad up here in our part of northern Alabama. But it did follow with cold temperatures, and this morning we got up, it was supposed to actually be in the low 30s, but it ended up only getting down to 42, but we are under another freeze warning tonight. And so that is why I went ahead and harvested the lemon balm, and I'm gonna go out there and look for some more herbs that I can maybe harvest real quick before a freeze comes and just wipes out a lot of them. I do have things that do manage to overwinter very well here, even through freezing temperatures. Things, of course, like rosemary, which is an evergreen. I can walk right out there by my front porch and get fresh rosemary all year long. And the same thing goes with oregano and garden sage. Those things are pretty hardy, and I have been able to go out there all year long to harvest it. So I don't worry too much. I do like to have some on hand though, dry in some jars in the cabinet, just in case the weather is nasty. I mean, if it is pouring rain and sleet and all that stuff, I don't necessarily want to walk out into the front garden with my snippers to harvest some herbs. So I do like to have a little bit of extra dry on hand, just in case. But there are a lot of herbs that I am able to harvest year-round. We have mild enough winters for that. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video for today. Thanks for joining me here in the kitchen. If you have any questions about lemon balm or anything like that, please leave them in the comments down below. And I will put a printable version of the lemon balm ginger syrup that I mentioned earlier on my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com, where I have this video, and I will put a link to that down below if you are watching this on YouTube. So if you are interested in getting that recipe, you can find it there. So that is it for today. Thanks for joining me here in the Homestead Kitchen. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread, and I will talk to y'all next time.